things have changed. Because if there's something that 2020 has taught me, is that the future, it's impossible to predict. I think we've seen that firsthand over the past few months. See, who would have thought that just less than a year ago, this was the Cybertruck that was announced? We didn't see that one coming, did we? Do you have any Gilmore Girl fans? Did anyone really expect the Gilmore Girls would come back to Netflix in the last year? See, I don't know about you, but I had my tickets, and if we have any sort of early 90s rock fans, Rage Against the Machine with their 20-year comeback, who would have thought that would be the case? See, I didn't expect that a California wildfire would be started from a gender reveal party just a couple of days ago. The future is impossible to predict. And we're not even talking about the elephant in the room that has been these last 5 months. We're seeing incredible change. We're seeing incredible uncertainty. And we're seeing the actions that we take allow us to create a more intentional future. See, now I've spent a lot of time studying and understanding some of the greatest organizations across the world. I've surveyed thousands of companies all across North America, into Europe and Asia as well. And I'm starting to understand really what makes great organizations great. And what I've realized is that the future isn't just about how we act, it's about how we react. Knowing that the world has thrown us so many curveballs just in the past 3 months at scales that we couldn't have possibly predicted. I believe that if we start to realize that this change is inevitable, that we'll start to be able to make these pivots and these changes more intentionally, more often. And when we're creating our remote teams and our greatest places to work, that we can be more intentional about this creation every single day. See, I believe that when we look at creating a more intentional future, and when I've studied and understood and researched all of these organizations, it comes down to not just the North Star that we've got 5 and 10 years down the road. If it's a personal level, a lot of us will have our mission or our 5-year vision board or our 10-year vision board. For us in our organizations or our companies, we'll have our 5 and our 10-year strat plan. We'll go out on a retreat. We'll spend a bunch of money. We'll have fancy food. We'll stay next to a waterfall or a ski hill. And we'll come back with a skip on our step thinking, we've got it. And then something happens. Something inevitably happens. It always does. That requires us to change. That requires us to pivot. We get new people on our team. We have a new product launch. Our customer, our target market changes. And as a result, we have to change with it. But as far as I understand, there isn't a system that allows us to live life as it happens, to pivot and change more frequently, to allow us to create on the fly while still looking to achieve our longer term goals. And so I've been working over the past 3 years on a new system that allows us to live life as it happens, that allows us to take control of change and innovation and to bake it into our culture. I call this a 1-degree shift framework. The ability to make small incremental changes over and over and over so that the future of work is not something that just happens to us. It's something that we create. And in all the research that I've done, I found that organizations who are successful at this do these 3 things. Number 1, they envision what their goal is going to be. Not just 5 and 10 years down the road, but 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months too. They know that they need to evaluate and measure if they're getting any closer to that goal. So are we actually getting closer or are we getting further? Do we know what our KPIs are? Do we know when we're building our remote teams, what is it that indicates if we've got a higher performing team? It's not just going to be results. Are we measuring things like belonging, trust, community, psychological safety? And finally, and I think perhaps most importantly, are we experimenting and trying new things? Look, what might have worked 1 year ago might not work today. And as we're thrown from the office to our homes, it's this necessity to continue to experiment over and over again, to see if the goal that we had yesterday is the same as it is today, and to see if the metrics are what they were yesterday too. And I believe that not just on a long-term basis, but on a shorter-term basis too, if we can evaluate, if we can experiment, and if we can envision what success is going to look like, then we get to redefine what a great team looks like, what a great organization looks like, and we can pivot and grow along the way.